space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios Podcast live stream episode number 205. Excuse me. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. If you missed this live stream, very informative live stream. If you do miss this, and you're not going to want to, so if you do, if you got to exit halfway through, and it's not going to be a long live stream, but even if you're not a subscriber, even if you're just a mild phone enthusiast, not super geeky like I am and some of my viewers, I take that as a compliment. So it's a good thing to be knowledgeable in the world of cell phones, in the world of mobile technology. You're not going to want to miss this episode. And it kind of just popped up out of nowhere. So if you do, or you need to catch the remainder of it, or whatever, if you miss a minute or two of it, I'm going to clip the phone buying section out and re-upload it as its own individual video. And there's a couple of news topics that we'll get into as well, as far as some upcoming devices that are going to be released here before the end of the year. I will upload these as individual videos. So wherever you're watching this, streaming on a bunch of different platforms, Twitch, Twitter, a couple YouTube channels, Instagram, come to the eSIM Studios YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search for eSIM Studios. You'll see our channel. It'll be posted there. And you can also listen to this in the audio form. You can take us on the go, right? Running errands, on a road trip, what have you. I do have a lot of trucking friends. I still have my CDL. I used to drive trucks that listen to the show audio form. So wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcast, search eSIM Studios Podcast will pop up. So I got into last night. Brief story. Promise I'll make this very brief, and it rolls into what we're going to talk about today: phone buying, how to protect yourself buying a used phone. So I have an iPhone 16 Pro. It's on back order. I still got to wait like 3 weeks. It's insane. The first week came out where, iPhone Pro sales are down and everybody's buying the regular iPhone. Well, yesterday I did an extensive search. I was like, well, screw that. I'm just going to go buy an iPhone today, right? Or that was yesterday. And then I'll just cancel my order, the one that I ordered. Well, everything's sold out. So you go into apple.com, the Pro Max, all the colors, all the storage variants, everything is sold out. I cannot go purchase one in person. Everything's sold out within basically the whole state of Texas. There's nothing in Dallas, nothing in Houston, nothing in Austin, nothing in San Antonio. So if you want an iPhone, you're forced to purchase one used on Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, OfferUp, what have you. Does anybody use Craigslist anymore? I don't think so. But not only does this entail buying an iPhone, I'm just using yesterday as an example. But if you want to buy whatever phone, you want to buy your child their first phone, and you find a good deal on a, Pixel 8 or a Pixel 8a, and you want to buy it used, or like I did yesterday. If you see the thumbnail, that was I took a screenshot of the real deal phone that I was going to buy. Now I came across this phone, so again I was like, well, shoot, I'll just buy one and cancel my order. So I found a really good deal. And you can always reference back to this video, because what I'm going to show you is how to check for the phone, make sure it's not iCloud locked, make sure it's not blacklisted. Do you want to know if it's locked? Do you want to know if it's unlocked? Or even if it's on a payment plan through somebody else, because that happens a lot. When you buy a used phone, what some people will do is they'll go to T-Mobile, for example, or AT&T or Verizon. They'll buy it, put it on a payment plan where they're paying $20 a month or whatever for 3 years. Well, they'll literally go buy that phone on a payment plan, finance, turn around and sell it, and then they'll just not ever pay on the plan, and then your phone will work for and then let's say you buy the phone and it works for 3 or 4 months, and then T-Mobile realizes, hey, this customer's not paying on their plan, we're going to block this line. So they put a blacklist, put a block on that phone you purchased, and now you're screwed because you purchased the customer's phone, he put it on a payment plan and has never paid on his plan, so they blocked the phone because technically that phone is the property of the carrier, not yours or his. If you finance a phone, it's the property of the carrier, not yours. So legally, they have authority to do that. And so many people, I can't tell you, y'all know I unlock phones for a living, essentially. So who better to learn from than me? So I'm going to give you a couple of key tips and websites you can go to verify. And again, no matter if it's an iPhone, Samsung, they basically have checks for every single device, so you know what you're buying, because the last thing you want to do is drop $700 on a phone like I was about to do. Now, I ultimately did not purchase this phone. I found an iPhone 16 Pro black. It was a T-Mobile variant, and I ended up not purchasing it because what happened was I found it late at like 11 p.m. The dude, apparently after messaging him, I was going to buy it, and I was like, well, shit, it's like 11 p.m. I'm not going to go out here. And then by the time I got some of the details from him, it was already 12. He was on a bad part of town. I'm not driving with $600-700 in cash to a bad part of town, right? When he knows it. No offense against him. I doubt he's watching this, but no offense against him. I just don't put that past any. I'm just not doing it, and I don't recommend you doing it either. Right? 1-2 in the morning, $600-700 in cash, and they know it, and you're gonna drive into a bad part of town. No. So I was like, well, screw it. I said, look, if you still got it tomorrow morning, I'll meet up with you and I'll buy it straight up. Right? I'm not gonna haggle with you on the price. It's already it was a 16 Pro brand new for $700, and actually I think it was $600. I think it was $600, and for whatever reason, when I checked it this morning, when it was sold, he had put $700 on there. But I was like, damn, that's a steal. I was like, something's got to be wrong with it. So let's get into the very first step. So you find a phone like I did. Now, if you want to go meet somebody at 2 in the morning with $1,000 in cash, $700 in cash, that's your prerogative. You can if you want to. I'm not doing it. But let's say that you find a phone for sale. It's almost too good to be true. Like, something's got to be wrong with it. How do you find out what's going on with that phone? First and foremost, the very first step is you got to find the IMEI number. And there are steps you can take to where you can convert a serial number. If all you have is a serial number, you can convert it to an IMEI, but let's just say the most typical thing is an IMEI number. Now, if the seller does not want to give you the IMEI number, don't buy the phone. Because if they're not willing to let you verify that it's a perfectly fine phone to purchase, then don't buy the phone. That's the very first red flag. If they're hesitant about giving you the IMEI, and look, I've had to convince somebody. Some people say, well, you're just going to add it to your plan. And I remember messaging them back, well, why would I do that if I don't even have the phone, right? Like that doesn't even make any sense. Why would I add a phone? Because on Metro, if you have Metro PCS, you actually have to if you get a new phone on your plan, you have to physically call Metro and tell them, I need this IMEI on my line ending in 1234. So why would I do that if I don't even have the phone? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So if they're hesitant to give you the IMEI number, and you can do it on either one. So all phones have two IMEIs, IMEI 1, IMEI 2. You can scan either one, because I've had that happen too. Well, the first one's kind of scratched. I dropped the box and the IMEI got scratched. And I said, all right, well, give me IMEI 2. So Either one does not matter. You can pull full details on either IMEI 1 or IMEI 2. Does not matter. They're linked together. That's why if you blacklist an IMEI, it blacklists both of them, right? So first thing you need is the IMEI. And I didn't have to ask this guy for the IMEI because he had a video on Facebook Messenger, right? So let me show you what this video pulled up. So when initially, and that's why I did not ask him, because I got it in the video. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's a screenshot of a video, because you know on Facebook Messenger it allows you to upload like a 1 minute long video. So he was showing the box and showing the phone, and I screenshotted it. I was like, got you. So I screenshotted the box right there, and you can pull the IMEI number right off the box, right? So that's the very first thing, because what I'm about to show you, you're going to need 2 websites, and I'm going to link everything in the description of this video. So the very first one, I'll show you where to go. The very first site is a general brief description, and the second site is a more detailed information. So if you find a phone you want to buy, get the IMEI number. Again, if they don't want to give it to you, go move on to the next person, right? After haggling with them, if they're hesitant or whatever, just screw it. Look, and you can convince them, look, I just have to verify, right? If you have a phone that's not blocked and you're good to go, then why do you care? Let me verify. I'm the buyer. You're about to drop $700. Last thing you want to do is get screwed. So and that's the first red flag. So I didn't even have to ask him because I screenshotted his IMEI right here, right? So here's the first thing I do. So the very first thing I do, now it was a T-Mobile phone, right? Let me share the screen. Actually, let me remove this. Hang on. So here's what I do. Once you have the IMEI number, go here. Oh, son of a bitch. Go here. So what is this? So T-Mobile has a website, and this works with a T-Mobile phone. This works with a Verizon phone. This works with an AT&T phone. This works with an international phone. So even if you have a phone through C-Spire or a phone through EE in the EU, this even works for them. T-Mobile is linked to all GSM carriers on the back end. So this website's a very crucial website I use. Now, let me go pull the real IMEI of the phone I was about to buy. Give me 1 second. And we will run it live on air, and I'll show you what happens. So let's see. Let me pull this. There we go. Copy. Okay. So this is T-Mobile's bring your own device to T-Mobile. So so this is if you're going to get service through T-Mobile, but you're bringing your own phone. T-Mobile needs to know if you can use that phone on T-Mobile's service, right? So T-Mobile not only finds out, they give you 3 pieces of information. Let's go ahead and run this IMEI that I was going to buy last night. All you do is just scroll down. Now this IMEI, all IMEIs are 15 digits, right? Always start with 35 if it's an iPhone, 99 sometimes if it's a OnePlus or OnePlus or nothing sometimes. Most all phones are now start with 35. It's 15 digits. So after you copy and paste it in there, you hit no, just browsing. All right, so check it out. So here we go. So this is the results you get, right? So when you get the IMEI, you're looking here. So if you get green dot, this is fully compatible with T-Mobile's network. Now, green dot up top, you want all green dots. So what is this yellow dot here? So the second line, there's a yellow dot. If you have a red dot anywhere on here, that's a no-go, 100%. Do not move forward. It is a blocked phone. So this green one up here just basically lets you know it's compatible, right? This second one down here that's yellow, this yellow dot means it's financed. So this device has been purchased on a payment plan, on a finance plan, and just like I mentioned at the very beginning, this guy was probably got it on a payment plan, got it for free, because you know you can trade in a older phone that's like $90 I do it all the time, but I normally do it for myself. I don't buy and sell them. You can trade in a phone, and essentially they'll give you $1,000 off of a new iPhone, which this 16 Pro was $1,000. This yellow dot here means it is financed. If you get a yellow dot, that means that device is currently financed. If you get a green dot on the second line, that means it's paid off. It's completely paid off. It's good to go. If you get a red dot, that means red means what? At a stoplight. Stop. Think of it as a stoplight. Green, you're good to go. It's paid off in clean and clear, not blacklisted. Yellow dot here, what it means caution at a stoplight. Yellow means caution. This is financed. It's currently on a payment plan. Red dot means stop. It is blacklisted. So I saw this yellow one. So I saw this yellow and I was like, well, shit. All right. So he financed it. Let me at least see what the details say. Maybe I could flip it real quick or I don't know. I was going to get more information from the guy. Ended up not buying it, but let's dive a little further. Let's say you have a green dot here. It's good. It's clean and clear. It's paid off and you're good to go. Let's take it one step further, right? So you're going to take this IMEI, copy, right? And you're going to go over here. This is directcodes.org. Directcodes.org. Now I'm going to put this in the description of the video, so you can always come back to this video and reference it. If you're not watching on your phone, I don't think I have it in the description right now. When this live stream is over, come back. I will add these links in the description as soon as this is over, I promise. But you're going to go to direct codes. Now, you're going to have to add, look, this to run detailed information. Let me show you what it looks like. To run detailed information, to run a verified check of any iOS device, any checks are like 5 cents, 10 cents. I think the minimum deposit is like $5, and you can do your debit or credit card. I've been using this site for years. They're legit. Nothing funny, no funny business going on over here. This is where I get all my data. These are tied into Apple GSX and Apple Connect servers. These are tied into the carrier servers. So this website will let you know up to the second data on any phone in the world, not just in the US. Any phone in the world, iPhone, Android, MacBook, iPad, whatever. You can unlock, you can get data on phones. So I pulled up his info, right? And this is what I got right here. So device order history. See, you go here. Let's do this. So you go to place order. Here's how you run a IMEI number. You go to place order. You go to device services. The second option, device services, right here. Click that. And it brings up a blank line. Now you can scroll through. Why can't I go scroll down? Anyways, it's hard to see, but they have hundreds of services. Now, how I go to my check real quick, they have Verizon, they have everything you can imagine under the sun. So in here, select service, just type check, right? So you typed in check, and you're going to go scroll down just a few lines, and under check services, you got Apple iPhone check right here. 10 cents. Trust me. Spending a few cents, maybe even a few dollars to check your device could save you hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000, depending on what device you're buying. You want to verify the device you're getting. You want to know what you're getting into. The last thing you want to do is get screwed. I've gotten screwed before. I'm not perfect. When I first, started buying and selling and flipping phones before I started unlocking, I got screwed. Everybody gets screwed. It only takes one time to get screwed to make a vow to yourself saying, God damn it, I'm never going to get screwed again. So yeah. And hey, look, I've lost out on deals too, where I have to verify this device and this person's like, hey, I got 5 other people that want to buy this. And I said, look, if you want to sell it, that's fine. But I need to know what I'm buying. And they sold it to somebody else. I'm like, screw it. There's always more. Don't ever feel rush. If they try and rush you into a sale, that's another red flag. But you have to verify, and I'm giving you examples of how to verify everything. So you go to this Apple iPhone check right here. You simply copy, paste the IMEI. Now, I already ran this, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So you paste it right in there where it says IMEI, and then you hit place order. Okay, order placed successfully. Now let's show what it gave me last night. So you're going to go to order history. It takes about 1 minute. It does it very fast, 30 seconds. So you go to order history, device orders. Now, that's the one I just placed right there. But right here from last night is what I placed earlier. Now, let me show you what it looks like. I don't want to... They got IP address on here that I placed the order. I don't want to give them up my IP address. So let me show you what it gives you. Let me show you. If I scroll too far down, it'll give up my exact location. But I trust you guys. But, you know, every now and then there's some weirdos out there. But so let me pull this down and let me show you what it gives you, because I came prepared today. So it gives you this. Boom. On the right side. So when you go to device history and then you go device orders, this is the info it'll give you. Now, it may be hard to see right now, but you can zoom in on your screen. Wherever you're watching this, on a laptop, on a phone, on a tablet, you can pinch to zoom on a phone and or a tablet. And on YouTube, if you're watching this on your computer, you can also zoom in as well. But it gives you a basic overview, right? So let me show you. I mean, you got it there, but let me describe what it shows you. So when you're looking at this information on the right side, it gives you results. What the model is. So it's an iPhone 16 Pro Black 256 USA model. Gives you the IMEI 1, IMEI 2 serial number, activation status, warranty status, estimated purchase date. So look at that. It gives you when they purchased it. So if they give you some funny business, you can also, hey, when did you say you picked this up? Oh, yeah. Oh, man, it's been sitting in my closet for 2 months. Oh, really? You know, he's lying, because here it says he bought it just a few days ago. Boom, another red flag. So you know when they purchased it. Repairs. Has this phone ever had repairs or service on it? But it is active, so it has Apple Care on it. Repairs and service expiration date. So you know when the repair Apple Care ends and or warranty ends on this device. This one was for 358 days, I guess. I don't know why. Apple Care eligible? Yes. Valid purchase date? Yes. Apple Care? No. So, I believe the warranty information. Where is warranty? Did they change it up? Repairs and service expiration date. That would be the warranty. When the warranty from Apple. Is this Apple Care activated? No. Replaced by Apple? No. Registered device. Is it a registered device? Yes. Refurbished device? No. Replacement device? No. Demo unit? No. Loaner device? No. Purchase country? United States. Now look at this. Find My iPhone is off. iCloud status is clean. So you want to make sure. So that means basically it is activated on the network, meaning it's getting service because it tells us. Now, he has not signed in to Find My iPhone, which is good because you want to make sure they sign out when they sell it to you. And the iCloud status is clean, meaning it has not been wiped with an existing iCloud. Somebody signing in. It has not been wiped while there is an existing Apple ID and or iCloud account on the phone, because that would make it iCloud status lost, which is not good, which would make it iCloud locked. GSMA status. That's the world. GSMA is the world blacklist. That is clean. US blacklist, clean. There's a US blacklist and a world blacklist. Sometimes it'll be on the USA blacklist, which means it cannot be used inside the USA, but it can be used outside the USA if unlocked. Or if it's both, USA blacklisted and GSMA blacklisted. GSMA means international. US blacklist means in the US, right? US blacklist reason not applicable because it's clean. Now, down at the bottom, carrier, US. T-Mobile locked activation policy. It would say T-Mobile device, which would make sense because when you go on the T-Mobile website and we scan IMEI, it gives us a yellow dot. That means it's financed. Country, United States. SIM lock at the very bottom in red. It is locked, meaning it will only work on T-Mobile. Meaning you cannot add a AT&T eSIM, you cannot add a Verizon eSIM, you cannot add a visible. Even back in the day, you used to be able to use. So you know how T-Mobile purchased Mint Mobile. You know how T-Mobile has is run on Metro. T-Mobile owns Metro, and even Google Fi. So as of recently, they've sort of locked it down even more. So back in the day, you used to be a T-Mobile locked iPhone, meaning a T-Mobile iPhone that was purchased at T-Mobile, right? That's locked. You could still add a Mint Mobile SIM. You could still add a Metro PCS SIM, and it would still work because T-Mobile is the parent company. It's still technically on the T-Mobile service and network. Even Google Fi back in the day. Now, there's some Android phones that you could do that as well. And I'm going to say, even like if you had a T-Mobile, I think it was S22, T-Mobile S22, you could put a Mint Mobile. You could put a Metro PCS SIM in there. You could put a Google Fi SIM in there, and it would work. But now, as of the last year or so, they've begun to lock that down. So literally only a T-Mobile SIM will work in there. Anyone. It could be somebody from another account. It could be somebody in another state. As long as you're adding a T-Mobile eSIM to this phone, it will work. It'll add it. If you try to add an AT&T eSIM, it will get rejected. It'll say the phone is locked, SIM restrictions. So as long as, now I was going to buy this because I knew it was a T-Mobile phone, and I have T-Mobile, so I was just going to add my eSIM. No need to unlock it. However, I found out it was financed. Now, why is that a risk? Why is that a no-no? You can take that risk because sometimes if somebody's selling you a T-Mobile phone, that it's financed, but you have T-Mobile, what do I care? Well, here's why you might care. Now, he can tell you, I've bought and sold phones where I bring this up, and the guy's like, yeah, but I just got another line, and I'm not going to stop paying on it because, I have me and my wife and my kids are on this plan, and it was just an extra added line that I don't need, that I'm just getting rid of the phone. So that's true, as long as, in this situation, if he continues to pay his plan, this phone, that iPhone I was going to buy, was technically on his plan. He was just selling it to me. And now it was financed through him and his plan. As long as he makes his normal payments on his plan, the phone will stay active, even with my T-Mobile eSIM in there. Because remember, it's in property of T-Mobile. It's not my property because I bought it. It's not his property because they gave it to him. It's T-Mobile's property because they're essentially leasing it to you. If he misses a payment, or God forbid he gets in a car accident and he can't pay his bills, they're blocking that line, and that $1,000 iPhone you just bought, however 4 months after you buy it, just randomly shuts off, or gets their carrier services blocked. You're screwed. You are screwed. Have I purchased financed phones in the past? Yes. Am I trying to not buy financed phones currently or in the future? Yes. I have done it before. It's very risky. Typically, I'll only buy a car, even though if it checks out fine, hey, it's not blacklisted. It's good to go. The dude seems like he's a legit person, and maybe I can trust him. But what I'll do, I'll use it for a month or so, and then I'll sell it. Obviously, you can let the person know, look, a lot of people take that risk. It's just up to you. Remember, if they stop payment on it, then you're screwed. So remember, you want to see those 3 green dots on that T-Mobile website. Bring my phone website. You want to see 3 green dots. If the middle one's yellow, if the middle one's green, that means it's paid off, you're good to go. If the middle one's yellow, that means it's currently financed. If the middle one's red, that means it's blacklisted. So that's just a quick overview of how you can protect yourself. Now, you can even take it one step further. So let me do this again. You can even take it one step further. Let me show this again and show you what I mean. So if you really, really want to dig deep and see why a device was blacklisted, you go back to this website I got pulled up right here. You go to place order, you go to device services. You can actually run internal T-Mobile checks. So if you type in T-Mobile in the search box, whoops, I misspelled it. You can scroll down here. You can actually unlock phones here. But if you want to check, if you buy a phone that's locked, you can unlock it here. But look, they got iPhone 16s. But look, you can do this. So under USA T-Mobile services, you can, where we go, check services. So T-Mobile basic status check, right? Or you can do, hey, T-Mobile clean, blocked, unpaid, lost, stolen check. So if you go to the T-Mobile site and see that red dot, meaning it's blacklisted, and you want to take it one step further and see why it's blacklisted, come here, directcodes.org. Look up this service right here that I got, T-Mobile clean. This will tell you why it was blacklisted, right? Some people want to know, some people don't. But if you want to know why, this will give you up to the second information, not only from T-Mobile, but they have this for Verizon. They have this check for, not Sprint, but AT&T. They have it for international carriers. You can get up to the second detailed information on anything. So between these two websites that I just presented to you and a little common sense, you should be able to essentially thwart or bypass 99% of people or devices that you're going to regret buying later, whether the seller has bad intentions or not, right? Because I can't tell you how many phones I've bought and sold in the past. I used to do this for years. So some people know, some people are very devious and are pretty good liars until you catch them in their bullshit. And some people I give the benefit of the doubt, right? It's a 60-year-old widow, right? Her husband died and she's selling her phone and she doesn't know it's blacklisted, or she doesn't know it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't really judge. I just, whatever their story is, okay, I'll just take that information and I'll just go and I'll compare it to whatever the real information is from the data that I pull. Kind of compare the two, right? I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the older lady that's a widow, that she doesn't know anything about phones. And then you'll get some guy that gives you some long ass story about how he got this phone, and you're kind of looking at him like, what? And like, whatever, let me go check for myself. Sometimes I've caught many people in lies, and you don't have to, call them out. I mean, I've done that, but most of the time I'll just won't ever respond back because I got other shit to do, right? So, trust me, there's probably more scammers out, and there's a lot of blacklisted devices on Facebook Marketplace, on OfferUp and Mercari. So this is just a good way for you to verify, right? Check. Now, when buying iPhones and or an iOS device, and I do this even when I buy them on OfferUp, I'll say, if you buy a device, the apps are getting better at reminding the seller to sign out of Find My Device, to sign out of your iCloud account, and then factory reset it. They're getting better at reminding sellers, but some people just don't know. So I'll actually send them a message. If you buy them online, you're not able to see it, make sure you remind them, hey, make sure you sign out of Find My Device on iOS, and make sure you sign out of your Apple ID right before you ship it. Just a friendly reminder, because there's been times where you buy a phone, you get it in, they're still signed into it, and then you can't do shit because if you factory reset it, it's gonna be locked. And what else? Android phones. If you're buying an Android phone, and that iOS thing, Find My Device in Apple ID, making sure they sign out before they factory reset it, goes for an iPhone, iPad, MacBook, any iOS device. Sign out of those two things before you factory reset it. Android devices, make sure here's what you have to do when buying and these checks that I just did here. You can do that for Android or iPhone. Any device that has an IMEI number, you can do this, right? It's not just specifically to iPhone, although 99% of phone unlocking business is iPhone here. But Android. You can also scan Android on the T-Mobile site and on the directcodes.org. You can run the full IMEI check. Android. If you're buying an Android device, make sure they turn their security. So if you have a passcode or a pattern that you put in, make sure the seller goes into settings and removes their pattern and or passcode. So they have to select none when it comes to security, screen lock security. They have to hit none. Make sure they go to accounts and settings and physically remove all of their accounts, including a Samsung account, including a OnePlus account. Google, you just sign into your Google account and away you go. With Samsung, you don't have to, but you sign into your Google account and you sign into your Samsung account and you sign into your OnePlus account. So make sure whatever phone it is, they go into settings, remove the screen lock, remove their accounts in the device, and then factory reset it. So that's what you need to know on Android devices. But again, the big thing here is financed. The majority of buyers in the United States when they're getting a new phone is through the carriers. It's not like that in other parts of the world, but here in the US, large majority of people buy their phones through the carriers, right? They have some really good deals. I mean, it's just a fact. I've some of my devices I've gotten through carriers where they'll give you $1,000 off. Okay, for trading in a $40 phone that I can buy on eBay. So I'll go on eBay, buy a $40 phone, use that to trade it in. They give me $1,000 for it, and then I buy that. Then I get that device essentially free. However, it's still being paid per month. So even though you get it for free, there is still a bill credit on your bill. So technically, you're still paying it off. They're just zeroing out the balance. Now, that does not mean you can go sell that. Well, you can, but it's still financed. Even if they give you a free phone from trading in a phone, it's still financed. As long as there's a balance owed on that device, you may see it free on your plan, but it'll be zeroed out over the next 24 months. If you sell that phone within that 24 months, T-Mobile's still legally still the owner of that device, and that device can be shut off if you do not pay that plan. So just beware. That's why those two sites are very, very important. As I mentioned, a large majority of people here get their phones to the carriers. And one thing I noticed trying to buy an iPhone for the first time, if you go to apple.com, you cannot buy an iPhone without selecting a carrier. Has it always been that way? Because I got my Pixel here. I just go to google.com, Google Store online, and buy an unlocked Pixel, and then I can put whatever SIM card I want to in here. When I go to Apple's website, they force you to select a carrier. Has it always been that way? I'm not an iPhone user, so I have no idea. I just thought that was really weird. So please be careful if you're buying a used phone out here. And a good thing, if you're a seller, go into here's something you can do to help boost your sale and boost confidence in a potential buyer. Run a report of the device you're selling. If it's paid off and you know it, go in and run the report yourself and then save a screenshot of that report. Now, I would blur out the IMEI just for general posting purposes. But if somebody requests it, right, to check on their end, you can text it to them. But print out that report or take a screenshot of that report, blurring out all of the super important information, but where they can generally see, okay, it's a clean device, no Find My iPhone is on, iCloud is clean, it's an unlocked device, that type of stuff. That's helped me in the past sell a lot of phones. I'll go ahead and pull the report myself and then post that in the pictures, just to give them some more confidence from buying it from you. What else? Look, you can run iPads. There's a check for MacBooks that don't have an IMEI, that have a serial number. So go check it out. Pretty cool deal. Again, does cost a few cents, but hey, better to be safe than sorry, right? I'd rather it's a small price you have to pay for getting screwed, and then you're screwed out of $1,000 phone, right? Losing $600, $700, $800, hell, even $1,000. You're gonna wish you all it takes is one time to get burned, and you're gonna wish you had run this. You had checked the details on it. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I'm gonna upload this as an individual video on my by itself. We'll get into a little bit of news real quick, but I'm gonna upload this as an individual video. You can comment under this one or the video I upload if you have any questions whatsoever. Hey, what would you do in this situation? Or hey, I'm gonna buy a phone, but he's telling me this. Comment. I promise you, you're not gonna find many people on the internet that have more experience than I do. And I'm not bragging. I'm just letting you know. I've been buying and selling, flipping phones, starting off just as a hobby, and then actually wholesale, like literally buying in bulk. So you're not going to come across many people that have more experience than I do. And I'll just give you my honest opinion. You want my honest opinion? You want like what I would do playing it safe, or hey, I'm having a hard time selling this. What should I do? Or hey, I'm thinking about buying this, but so-and-so, he's saying, telling me this or that. Shoot me a message, a comment under this video. My email address is down below. I think I have Telegram or WhatsApp on there. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what's going on, and I'll just give you my honest answer and how you can protect yourself and or sell your device. I got some really good tips that if you're trying to sell a phone too, I can help you get it sold pretty quick. No commission, just straight advice. Real quick, before we get out of here, let's see. So there's a couple of Apple things I want to get into. Not much Android news going on. The S24 FE was released, but I'm not big on those. I've always overlooked those. The new Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra and S10 Plus came out. I have not pre-ordered mine yet. I don't know. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. I might hear in a week or so. But moving on. Not much Android news going on. Waiting for the Nothing OS 3.0 to come out. I think Nothing's gonna put that out for all Nothing Phone 2, 2A, and 2A Plus users. I think here in the next couple of weeks. So if you have a Nothing Phone 2, 2A, or 2A Plus, look for that update for. Is it next month? I'm not sure, but it's coming soon. And then Samsung. If you're a Samsung user, I got word that Samsung One UI is close to being done, but they've said that before and been delayed. But One UI 6.1.1 has not been a good OS update for my Samsung devices. It seems like my battery life has gotten worse on One UI 6.1.1. So I'm really looking forward to One UI 7.0. That's where you get like an Apple copycat type of thing. Like some of the icons look similar to iOS, which I'm not too happy about. But you can change all that. So I just want it to be smoother and good battery life. So look for that. I think One UI 7.0 is coming out. What are we in? September, almost October. Should be pretty soon. I know traditionally Samsung has released Android, the next version of Android for their flagship devices, always in November. I think obviously they were trying to get One UI 7.0 out earlier, like originally when they launched it and put out a time frame for One UI 7.0. It should have been on our devices already, right? But it got delayed. There were issues optimizing it, whatever. But I did hear it is close. So Nothing OS 3.0 and Samsung One UI 7.0 is close for flagship devices. And I got some Apple news, but give me just a second. Okay. Let's look into the Apple news. Fees are getting higher, Daniel says. What's going on, brother? Though, but I've never been burned on SwapUp. Yes. So SwapUp is a unique site where it's a pretty good deal. And they're unique. In fact, they're the most secure, I would say, right, Daniel? Probably the most secure aftermarket for phones. They actively scan IMEIs. They will not let you upload and or sell a blacklisted phone. I found that out accidentally one time. I was trying to sell a phone, and I've had hundreds of phones. Maybe even 1,000. And it was clean when I uploaded it for sale. It was a clean IMEI. And then it was one of those deals back in the day where it got blacklisted like a month later, and they delisted it. But that's fine. That's what they're supposed to do. But SwapUp is unique because if you're a seller, if you sell the phone, you get the money up front. So a lot of these like OfferUp, Mercari, you don't get your money until the buyer, until the buyer gets the phone delivered to them, and then Mercari and or OfferUp will verify when it gets delivered. It'll ring off a bell in their system, and then you have like 2 days to verify the phone is good for the buyer to make sure you didn't get screwed or the device is as is advertised, and then they'll release funds. SwapUp, on the other hand, if you're a seller, they release as soon as the buyer buys your phone that you're selling on SwapUp, boom, you get the funds immediately. And if there's any funny business going on, they immediately ban you from the platform. So SwapUp is probably the safest bet. Mercari is getting better. So Mercari, when you sell a device on Mercari, you actually have to type in the IMEI number. And they're getting better as well. They will not let you sell the same phone twice or the same IMEI twice, which is, good for certain reasons. And they're getting better on that. They did not used to make you input the IMEI. Now, I have not tried uploading a blacklisted IMEI. I might test that out just to see if it'll let you, to see if their systems are up to date, but not actually sell it, right? Just to test. And then OfferUp, more of the janky, but you can find some good deals, right? And but Facebook Marketplace is like the wild, wild west, where you could post anything for sale, and I can't tell you how many blacklisted phones. That's why it is so imperative, absolutely imperative, that you check the device IMEI, check the history before you buy anything. And again, if it's financed but it's clean and clear, meaning it'll get service if you add a SIM to it, but it could get blocked at any moment. That's up to you, right? That's your call. But OfferUp has pissed me off because they're pinching every penny, and they'll only let you upload like, I think 3 phones within 1 month, and then you have to buy like a premium subscription to post more phones. But Facebook Marketplace is like whatever goes. That's why it's they got a lot of shit on there. Xiaomi 14T, has that been released yet? I think it has. Now the Xiaomi 15 is going to come with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. Yeah, no, I can't either. You like your phone? I was thinking about you this morning, and I was gonna message you to see how you're liking your Nothing Phone 2, and I got caught up in other things. But I was gonna message you this morning and ask how your Nothing Phone 2 is holding up, if you've been enjoying it. It's a beautiful device. Yeah, let's see. Yep. Yeah. And that's a good thing, because let me tell you why. So Daniel says, that's why I like SwapUp, and sellers provide IMEI to them, so they do all the verification behind the scenes while keeping it private from everyone else. Because there's a reason why I showed you only 2 websites. So the websites in the servers that I have access to. And there's a reason why I didn't, because if some of my knowledge gets into the wrong person's hands, you can blacklist any phone. Like I can iCloud lock any phone on the earth within a few seconds. I can do that. Like I can literally iCloud lock somebody's phone. All I have to have is the serial number, right? Or the IMEI. Now I can blacklist. I can actually go into some of my servers, not the one I showed you, but I have access to servers where I can actually blacklist your phone. So that's why it's kind of, you know, I can actually go in and say in T-Mobile systems or Verizon or AT&T and blacklist this phone, report it lost or stolen, and then boom, it won't get any service. Now I can go back in and remove it, but if somebody wants to be a dickhead and get your IMEI and just blacklist your phone that's for sale, you know, a freaking $1,200 phone, you know, that's not good. And it could happen. That's why I mentioned earlier, if you're selling a phone, sometimes I'll go ahead and put a screenshot of the report of my device in the seller photos, but I'll blur out the IMEI, and I'll only issue it out if it looks like it's a real potential buyer, right? But you don't want your IMEI to just be out there in the open, right? Because I know that chances of that happening are very, very, very slim, but you know, it could happen. I don't think I've ever, well, I don't know, but I don't think I've ever heard of that happening, but it's certainly possible, right? Yeah, iPhone, what was it? iPhone, that's why I couldn't believe it. It was iPhone 16 Pro, 256 gig, black, T-Mobile, right? I think that is essentially $1,200. And he was selling it for $600. And that's why I know it was $600, because like, damn, that's half the price last night. And that's why I wanted to scan it and check it out. And then this morning when I looked and I saw it was sold for whatever, maybe he sold it for $700, right? Maybe someone was like, well, I'll give you more. I'll give you $700 if you sell it right now. But he wanted me to meet him at like 1 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that on the bad side of town. No, sir. No, I don't need an iPhone that bad. I've done that before. So when I lived in Houston, when I went to U of H, University of Houston, I remember meeting somebody. It was like, I think it was the first or second ever iPhone ever. The two-tone, where it was like the silver on the back, and then the bottom had like a strip on it of plastic, a white plastic or something. It was like the iPhone 1 or 2. I remember meeting somebody in 4th Ward. Very, very sketchy. I don't know why I did that. At like 2 a.m, right? With like $800 in cash. I'm like, screw it. You know, I'm younger. I didn't care. No wife, no kids, nothing. So what do I care? And plus, I think I was packing back then. So, you know, I was protected, but still, it's crazy. I'm not doing that now. So the Xiaomi 14T has the Dimensity in it as well? No kidding. I hope more companies do that. I hope more companies take them up on that offer. So let's get into this Apple news real quick before I got to get out of here. So look at this. Speaking of Apple and getting into some news to finish off this episode of the podcast. So apparently, when Apple released the new iPad Pro with that M4 chip in there, right before the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 news came out. Oh no, excuse me, the Snapdragon X Elite CPUs were announced and released. Apple slid in there real quick and released an iPad with the M4 chip in it, right? And I think they did that on purpose to kind of they didn't want anybody to have a leg up and say they have the best mobile CPU. Well, the M4 technically is the most powerful, quote-unquote, best mobile CPU you can get, right? The Apple M4 chip. And they released that in the iPad Pro, which you can buy now. However, we all knew down the line that they were, and we did report on it, that Apple was planning on putting these new M4 chips in MacBook Pros, or I think all MacBooks in the future. Mac Mini, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, everything on the PC side. But we just didn't know when. Well, apparently, we know now a better time frame of when they're going to release this, and it seems like it might just be right around the corner. So there is a new leak, social media, from a rather solid leak, right? That said, the new the M4 MacBook Pro is going to start off at 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is huge because they've traditionally, I think, always base model was like 8 gigs of RAM. So these new M4 MacBooks or Mac Minis or MacBook Air, whatever, are all going to have 16 gigs of RAM base. Now, RAM on a Mac, for whatever reason, I may dive into it a little more in the future. It seems like 8 gigs of RAM on a MacBook is the equivalent to 16 gigs of RAM on a Windows laptop, right? So 16 gigs of RAM on a MacBook is generally the equivalent to 32 gigs of RAM on a Windows laptop. And that just has to do with how they process the memory, right? This new MacBook Pro with the new M4 CPU, again, 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. All Macs, are M4 Macs, are going to start with 16 gigs of RAM. So that's good news. They finally see the light and take the step up in RAM. So additionally, this packaging claims that the base model M4 MacBook will have a 10-core CPU and 10-core GPU. Prior reports suggested the M3 chip currently has an 8-core CPU and 10-core GPU, right? Another interesting detail about this new MacBook with the M4 is that the model will have 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, unlike the current M3 MacBook Pros that only have 2 Thunderbolt ports. So that's good news, right? See how he blocked his serial number on there? You see that picture? Very smart. Somebody could lock it. Now, when will this be released? Well, I found information that says, where are we? It's going to be released. Here we go. So the MacBooks, the new MacBooks with the M4 CPU, is going to be released alongside an iPad Mini 7 as well as a Mac Mini in October. So apparently there is a new Apple event, a virtual event. So it's not going to be a launch event like for the iPhone. It'll be, probably on Apple's YouTube channel on Monday, October 30th. So basically a month from now, 4 weeks from now, 30 days, whatever, Apple's going to announce a new MacBook Pro, new iMac models, a Mac Mini, and an iPad Mini 7. Now it says iMac models with the new M3 series of chips. So it looks like the M4 series of chips are only going to go to the Pro models. They're obviously not going to put an M4 chip in an iPad Mini 7. I think that's going to have, I don't know what that's going to have in it. Probably their mobile, the A18 Pro. But all MacBooks, all the Pro variants are getting the M4 chips, and that will be in late October, day before Halloween. So in the Power On newsletter earlier this month, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman said that Apple will hold an October event this year to announce iPads, including the new updated iPad Mini. No more home button. So you remember with the iPhone SE, the new SE4, that they might announce at this event, no? Anyways, it's not the old SE where it's got the old traditional looking style. It has the physical home button. No. Apple's going to make a new iPhone SE that looks like an iPhone 16, just a little smaller, right? It's going to have that dynamic island and all that. They're also doing that to these new iPad minis. So the minis was a traditionally old school looking iPad with the physical home button. This year they're revamping that. It's going to look like an iPad Air, just smaller, right? Which is, it's time to update that design language. They look really outdated. let's get into what they're releasing. So I mentioned already the MacBook Pro. It's going to have that new M4 chip. I've never used an iPhone. I take that back. I have used an iPhone. I've never used a MacBook. I don't know if I ever will, right? I really don't have any interest. Honestly, never, but I'm sure I will at some point. There you get the iMac. Now, this one says it's coming with the M4 chip. So maybe they're going to release two models, one with an M3 and one with an M4. What is this? Mac Mini, M4. So you can tell they're throwing in all their premium devices. They're going to throw in their premium CPU in their premium devices. And I'm sure the iPad Mini 7 is probably going to get the A18 Pro, which you see in the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max. Now, we got those coming out in late October. And there's one last thing I want to get to that's in development that we can make a note of. So these M4s, these M4 CPUs are about to go mainstream, right? Well, guess what? Its successor, the M5 CPU, is already planned and is already in testing. And guess what that is going to release on? Yes, the Apple Vision Pro 2. That's correct. So Apple is testing in the testing phase of the Apple Vision Pro 2. It's actually entering mass production. So they're actually at the end stages of testing. And they're in between of testing and actually mass producing it, like actually starting the manufacturing plant to start pumping these out. Now, it's set for release in 2025. So I'm assuming it's in quarter 2, 2025, or in the second half of 2025, somewhere right at the late second quarter, early first half. So you're looking at like what, May or June of next year, 2025, they're going to release these Apple Vision Pros. It's going to have the all-new M5 CPU, spatial computing, and generative AI. We'll see if they improve upon any of the big disappointments that basically came about with these Apple Vision Pro first gen, because we all know, mad expensive, right? I think base model, I think it was $3,500, but after taxes, you're looking at like $4,200. That's base, and you can't buy the base because the memory is too low. So you get the upgraded memory, you're looking at like $5,000. So they're super expensive. They're heavy. Most people, if you watch reviews, they say their necks hurt after wearing them for extended periods of time. And there's no apps for it. Now, Apple has some, but the app developers, Apple's in a big tug of war, and these app developers are getting fed up with Apple simply because of how much piece of the pie Apple's taking. I think it's 30-40% of every dollar, 30 to 40 cents of every dollar Apple gets that the developer earns from earnings in the Play Store, app sales, advertisements. Apple gets 30 to 40 cents of every dollar you earn. And there has just been a lack of app development, especially when it comes to this. So I think Apple's going to have to work with their developers to really make a special deal with these app developers just for the Apple Vision Pro 2 to get more apps on there, right? You can't have this super expensive device and only have 10, 15, 20 apps to use. You need to have a nice, robust app library to choose from, right? I would say probably at least 100 various things, right? But you got to have, when you're spending that much, and it's actually really cool, but it does have a couple of big flaws: price, weight, and then apps. So if they can get the price down a little bit, I'm not expecting them to, charge $1,000 this upcoming year, but you gotta, it's so freaking expensive. And they had trouble selling it, right? They cut production. They cut production in half because nobody was buying them. So if you can reduce cost a little bit, if you can reduce the weight, right? So people can use it for longer periods of time, and you can work some kind of deal out with these developers. Hey, instead of taking 40% of your earnings, we'll do 20, right? Maybe they can work something out. I don't know if it'd be across the board or it's a per developer negotiation, but they got to do something. It's pretty embarrassing, in fact. But that is, testing phase has gone pretty good, it appears, because they would not mass produce it if the testing did not go well. And it looks like we're going to they're going to start producing these and again launch these, looking probably at the moment between May and June 2025. So you will have an upcoming Vision Pro 2 with the all-new M5 chipset. Lord, man, that's going to be a beast of a CPU. Now, that, let's see, is that going to be on the 3 nanometer or 2 nanometer TSMC? Okay, so the A19, next year's flagship CPU for iPhone 17, the A19 and A19 Pro CPU will be mass produced on the improved 3 nanometer node. So they're not switching to 2 nanometer just quite yet. And it looks like the M5 will be produced on the 3 nanometer node. Looking forward to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 OnePlus 13. And cannot wait to test those out. So that'll do it, folks. Thank you for joining me. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever on checking IMEIs, buying and selling phones, if you need any advice, if you got any questions, hit me up in these comments, or you can DM me or email me, what have you. Now, I'm going to end this right now, but if you need the links to the sites that you go check your device on, come back to this video. What time is it? Give me about 5 minutes and I'll come back to this video and I'll have the links put in there so you can start checking devices. So if you got any questions, give me a holler and come to the description of this video in a few minutes and I'll have everything linked down there for you. So appreciate it. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday afternoon, September 29th, and I will see you tomorrow. Please be safe. Have an enjoyable but safe rest of your Sunday evening. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. I'll have everything in the links in just a second. Peace.